Good morning and welcome to Stretford Paddock. I'm Casey, I'm outside Old Trafford, and I'm here on the back of what we like to say, the third of 3 0-0 draws in a row for Manchester United. So what we're going to have all the match reaction, we're going to have a couple of bit of news that surrounds that match, and we're going to give you a bit of transfer news and maybe talk about the situation that's been on every news outlet's lips this morning, everyone on social media, between Maguire and Marcus Rashford. So stay tuned for that. But let's start with the quotes as always. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has been talking to the media, as he always does. He's kind of contractually obligated to. He said after the match, "It's disappointing. We were just a little bit off. If you're not spot on, you don't win games." Well, I mean, that's a bit much, but never mind. Palace always make it hard for you. In the second half, we never got going. I mean, to be fair, there's a difference between spot on and not creating any chances for about 70 minutes of a game, personally. Is what I think. It's just like no one in that team seemed to really know where they were going with it, and it seems to be that now Bruno Fernandes is our only creative outlet in the side. Everyone just seems to close him out and stop any creativity happening, and he's not being helped by the fact that our attack seems a bit disjointed at the moment. But maybe we'll see it sort out in the future, hopefully, because we have City this weekend, and that's going to be a hard game, but we'll have to wait and see about that. Now, Solskjaer also then commented about some of the missing players for that game and why some of them might be missing for the City game. Obviously, Anthony Martial was out with an injury, still was feeling it a bit, was according to Solskjaer, and that meant that he missed last night's game, and he's hoping that he'll be back fit for Sunday. So obviously, David De Gea was one of the more mysterious ones. He was left out for personal reasons. Solskjaer has said it's a private matter, it'll take the time it takes. We don't know why that was yet, but that means that we might be seeing Dean Henderson getting more of a run in the squad. Now, Dean Henderson probably one of the only people who could walk out of Selhurst Park with his head held high last night, saving that last-minute shot from Patrick Van Aanholt, which gave me kind of like Vietnam-level flashbacks to last season, where he scored a very similar goal right in front of me at Old Trafford, and we lost that game. So I was very scared that was going to go in, but we could be seeing Dean Henderson getting a run in the squad. Solskjaer also commented on a bit of an issue that we might be seeing with the international break coming up. Obviously, coronavirus restrictions have been changed, have been added in, and we've now started to see restrictions put on people travelling to and from the country. Now, because of the international break, you're travelling all over the place, you're doing European qualifiers. Some players might have the case that they go to a country to play a team, they come back and they're on the restricted list, so they have to isolate for 10 days. And one of those players that would have that case is Bruno Fernandes. Now, Bruno Fernandes obviously is one of Portugal's stalwart players. He plays most games for them, but he's also one of United's stalwart players, and losing him for 10 days, which could be easily 2 games, maybe even 3 with the Europa League, would not be very good. So Solskjaer said it doesn't make sense to travel when they have to go and be away for 10 days, as we said. It is a chat we'll have to have with the players. Now, Bruno Fernandes famously likes to play football. He does it for a living. And he doesn't like when he gets taken off, so I don't know how he'll take that conversation. Hopefully he'll understand his importance to the team. And obviously I think there have been some managers saying, well, we pay their wages, why should we have to lose them for 10 games to go and play some international fixtures that some people might think, especially Steve, doesn't think they should be on. So we'll have to see about that. Solskjaer went on and talked about how, of course, it's a worry that we've kept 3 clean sheets, but we're not scoring. And that seems to be the case with United. It's like in those films where you see a leak in a ship start to spring up, and the guy goes over, puts a finger in it, and then it proceeds to go out in somewhere else. We've stopped conceding goals, but now we've stopped scoring goals. So maybe we'll have to look at doing that. Now, one of the big stories about last night and what's been all over social media and in the newspapers this morning is the spat, I'm going to put in inverted commas, between Maguire and Rashford. Now, obviously, it was caught on camera, Rashford basically telling Maguire to shut up. A couple of expletives in there that I don't know whether his mum would be quite proud of me seeing that. My mum said that. So I don't know if his mum would be proud of him seeing that, but never mind. Yeah. And it was kind of caught on camera, and it was basically Rashford told Maguire to shut up after Maguire told him to do something. I mean, let's put it this way. It's going to get pretty heated on a football pitch, especially when you're a goal scorer and you haven't scored goals in 3 games, and your captain is then telling you to do something. which you probably think he's probably telling you to do something pretty basic like make a run, and you don't want him to tell you to do that because you know how to do that as a goal scorer for Man United. It's going to get a bit tense. It's probably going to get that, and it probably happens more often than you think. If you think on a football pitch, when things aren't going your way, how many players will probably start shouting at each other and having a go at each other and telling you to do it? You see Bruno Fernandes have a go at everyone if players aren't playing the right way, and it never really gets picked up on. But the problem is that Man United have drawn 3 in a row, and some people want to make a big thing out of that and make it out like the squad's falling apart, there's disharmony, and that'll lead to more stories coming forward. And and it'll kind of be like, oh, has Solskjaer lost the dressing room and all that sort of thing. So you've got to wait and see about that. But I think it's not really anything. That's basically my take on it. It's just players being players on a football pitch when they're frustrated. And hopefully everyone gets back together for the Manchester derby on Sunday, puts everything behind him and tries to go out and win that game. We might see Paul Pogba back. Solskjaer also commented on Paul Pogba, saying that he'll have to hit the ground running to get his place back in the team. Not really much you can do at the moment. He's probably the only midfielder that we have in defence who can string together 3 passes in succession without, hitting the advertising board a la Fred. I mean, I love Fred. I think he brings a lot to the team in terms of defensive work rate, but his passing has led much to be desired, to put it very simply. Now, I'm going to talk a bit about transfers, and I'm going to talk about a player we haven't spoke about for a very long time because he's left, and that is Romelu Lukaku. Having a pretty good season of it, I'm not going to lie. I pretty much thought he was going to do this. He went to Conte's Inter, a Conte that wanted him in the first place, knows how to play him, and he scored about 50 goals for Inter Milan. And you can't really blame him, he's doing really well, and he's banging them in for him. Corriere dello Sport, the Italian outfit, as you might not have guessed, have said that what happened when they signed Lukaku from us is they did something that a lot of teams in Europe started to do, and they structure the payments. And what it was a 70 million fee, but they still have 50 million euros outstanding on that fee. Now, apparently, we put a clause in the agreement, and obviously Inter agreed to it because I don't know if they thought Lukaku wasn't going to hit the ground running the same way. That meant that once he hit that target, they had to pay the outright fee straight away to us, which is about £43 million, 50 million euros. Now, if you haven't really been paying attention, Inter aren't in very good financial situation at the moment. The Suning company who own them aren't doing well. They've just recently closed down their title-winning side in China, Jiangsu Suning, because after they've won the title, obviously title winning, and ceased operations out of nowhere because they're trying to focus on operations, trying to get money back. They're trying to focus on operations in the country, which means they don't really have that money to spare. That means that there's now a 43 million euro or pound deficit that United want to make up, and they are saying, Corriere dello Sport, that United are now asking for a player in return for what Inter owe them. Now, the 2 players that were named were Lautaro Martinez, the other striker who's doing really well for Inter Milan, and Milan Skriniar. Now, Lautaro Martinez has been on the record and says that he wants to stay at Inter Milan. He doesn't want to leave and he wants to stay there for a long time. That was when he was linked with Barcelona, so I don't think he'll have a move. But what we could see is Milan Skriniar. Milan Skriniar was open to a move to Tottenham. I think it was all worked out. It was just the fact that Tottenham didn't want to pay 60 million quid for him. But we could see Milan Skriniar move to Manchester United, and he's a very good ball-playing centre-back. He's I think he's left-footed. I'm not very sure on that. You'd have to double-check, but I think he is left-footed. And he's very good on the ball, he's very good in the air, he's very physical, and he puts himself about a bit. So we could see Milan Skriniar at Old Trafford to replace that fee. Now, that is obviously if this whole scenario is true, and I think there are bits of truth in there, definitely. Obviously, Suning are struggling. They might not have paid the fee, but it's whether they'll just either, sell Lukaku and pay us the money back just to spite us, or we might see them come up with the cash, or they might see a player. But we'll have to keep tabs on that. But that is a very interesting situation that I read about, and I thought I'd tell you about. That is everything. There's not much to talk about. Obviously, we drew 0-0. That's the big story in the papers, and that's what all the comments have been about. But hopefully, you're now informed on that Lukaku situation and about what United are going to look at going forward. So obviously we're going to have our watch along this weekend, and it's the big one. It's Manchester United versus Manchester City. Obviously we're going to have everyone on the watch along. We're going to have all the content leading up to that and all the content afterwards. So make sure you tune in for that. Tune in tomorrow and we'll have probably more news for you then. So again, I've been Casey. This has been Stretford Paddock, and we'll see you next time.